Hey traders, welcome to part 3 of our T3 Sell trade setup. We're going to have a look at how this trade played out, and we also want to have a look at how the MACD influenced the trade outcome. So let's have a quick look now at the charts, and let's have a quick look now and see what happened. Let's have a look at how our trade has panned out here. So we get triggered into the trade, as we mentioned before, at 63.21, and you can see here that it has to go 10 points before we actually move the stop. So the current stop is at 63.33, always 2 points above the previous swing high, and so until that move occurs, so the 10-point move, the stop's always sitting up there above the previous swing high. So once it hits that 10 points, our stop then goes to either a 2 brick or a 1 brick, as we mentioned before. Now the system works best initially in the first run to 10 points with a 2 brick stop, and then once we get a push to 20 points, we move it to a 1 brick stop. Now the only thing that's going to take us out in this first run to 10 points is either a fatigue buy or a divergence buy. So if our fatigue index sets up a buy, which it hasn't, it's starting to here, but obviously that's much lower down, telling us that the market's oversold, and a potential buy setting up, which it does here. So unless we get a fatigue buy, we're still in this trade, and unless we get a divergence buy, which we potentially almost got here, you see divergence is setting up here, and we get a push up, doesn't trigger us into the buy. So there's the buy set up there at 17, and it doesn't quite get hit, so no trade there. So neither of those two things happened, so we're still in a T3. So we basically are in a T3. Price then moves to 20 points, so it moves down, it consolidates here a little bit, then runs down, and you can see all that time our MACD is just starting to move below the zero line, so we're starting to get a good run down on our MACD, which is great. That's exactly what we want to see. So as we push down, price comes down. We're trailing our stop down, remember, because once we go to 20 points, our stop is in a 1 brick stop, which is that solid line, or not solid line, but thicker line. So there it is there, and eventually we get taken out at 62.85. So we get knocked out at 85. Now we got short on the trade at 63.21, so that's actually a nice 36-point move there, and a good run down. Now let's have a look at this trade here, and that'll lead us into obviously our next video. But basically this is setting up a potential buy setup, and it does trigger in. But it's not a T3, it's close, it just doesn't have the divergence. So we have a level of support, so we have our double top, double bottom meter trigger as a green, and we have the market oversold, so we have a potential buy set up here. We just don't have divergence, so that would definitely take us out of a T3, which it does. So we're out of the T3 at 85, and that's a very quick recap of. So that's a quick look at our T3 trade. I'll be taking you through another example of that and some walkthrough videos shortly. Cheers. Thank you for your time.